5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Onwards to victory.
Alright, so we're racing again in Central Park. This is race number 2 of the CRCA Club race series. CRCA being the Century Road Club Association here in New York City. They're the oldest bike club in New York City. They've been around since 1898, and they've been holding bike races in Central Park since then. The race today had, I think, 5 different fields. So I'm in the men's C field, which is Cat 4-5. There's a men's B field, Cat 3-4, and then a men's A field, so Cats 1-2-3. And then there's 2 women's fields, so there's a women's development field for the newer racers, and then a women's A field for everyone else. We're doing 5 laps today around the full Central Park course. So last time we did a shortened course, the Central Park Classic race, we did a shortened course. We took the Traverse at 102nd Street instead of going, down the hill and then back up Harlem Hill. Right now there's a lot of construction right before Harlem Hill. So actually for this race, the first time down towards Harlem Hill through that construction area, the moto did neutralize the race so that we could, get a feel of that descent and prevent any crashes on lap 1. So yeah, pretty easy start here because we know that the race is going to be neutralized pretty shortly. So no sense in attacking this early on. My priority for this race is really not to let any solo breakaway riders get away. I'm gonna learn from my last mistakes from my last races where both races that did happen and I was in a position to respond both times. A couple of teams represented today, so Team Colado in the neon and black jerseys up there on the right. My buddy Max is here as well from the Foundation development team. The Major Taylor development team is here as well. NYCC development team as well. But I think I've realized and learned in the last couple of races that in Cat 5 there's not really any team strategy. It's you're basically racing solo for yourself. And another thing I wanted to do for this race was to kind of really pay attention on my drafting and positioning. I think last 2 races I've been out of position quite a bit and eating the wind quite a lot. So for this race, I really wanted to be, assertive on, hopping on wheels and staying there. Yeah, you see here, the Team Colado guy sends an attack, but it's, honestly, it's burning an unnecessary match here because we're right about to get to the part of the course where, there's construction and it'll be neutralized on the first lap. So yeah, no point in chasing right now. So you see here the guy telling us to slow down, and yeah, we are neutralized. And you can see where we are on the course, by the way, on the mini-map on the top right. It was pretty windy today, so 13-mile-an-hour wind from the west, but the weather is relatively warm, 41 degrees, at least it's above freezing, unlike the last 2 races. And yeah, you see here we're on the descent towards Harlem Hill, and not a lot of space between the barriers and the joggers lane to the left. So yeah, definitely can be a little sketchy, especially in the C field, coming down this without the neutralization. Yeah, definitely will ruin your day if you eat it into a fence as well. So here, I think we're not neutralized anymore. So race is back on. And everyone always goes super hard up Harlem Hill. I didn't see a point in doing that this race. I actually, kind of fun story, on a group ride with my buddy Max, towards the end of the group ride, everyone goes hard. I was out front, he was on my wheel. He has about 15 pounds on me, 7 to 10 kilograms on me. Afterwards, we looked at Strava, at our power numbers up the hill. Power numbers were pretty much the same, like within 10 watts going up the hill. the hill's not that steep, but the draft still matters. It's worth about 10 to 15 pounds, so that's a pretty interesting anecdote. I think on this hill, one of the Team Colado guys did a little attack, so he's a little bit up the road right now. But yeah, within this field, there's plenty of stronger Cat 4 riders, so I was pretty confident that we'd be able to bring him back. So I'm still keeping my heart rate under check. There's a lot of racing left still, because it's a full Central Park course, and 5 laps instead of 4 because we started on time. I wanted to make sure I paced myself a little bit. So here we kind of settle into a kind of rotation back on the downhill. The west side of the course, which is what we're going through right now, it is a good place for breakaways and solo riders to get away. There's a lot of rolling terrain and turns, so it's pretty easy to get out of sight quickly, and out of sight, out of mind, especially if it's a disorganized chase attempt. But this chase attempt is pretty organized so far. So this guy, he makes a more wholehearted chase attempt. So I decide to hop on his wheel. You can see we're closing the gap pretty quickly at this point. You can see the Team Colado team member up there. We're about to reel him back in. So yeah, no real worries about him getting away from us. So you can see now we've brought him back. Try to break the draft a little bit, so I'm like, all right, I'll just attack, do my duty at the front of the Cat 5 field to pull people along, I guess. I wanted to save energy for this race, but I also didn't want to sit in the entire race. I don't know, I still wanted to get a good workout in. Probably not the best strategy for wanting to outright win, or the best strategy, but yeah, I didn't want to sit in the entire time. Here we're approaching one of the women's fields, so you can see they're neutralized, so we'll make the pass here on the left. Yeah, as far as fitness-wise goes, I do feel better than I did at the Prospect Park race, so I did a couple of long rides before this, a couple of interval sessions. I did manage to catch something again before this race, so the week leading up to it, I had a bit of a cough and sinus congestion. Yeah, not sure what's been going around New York City, but I've been sick twice now in the past year. Not a good start to the year for me, I guess. But yeah, fitness-wise, I do feel great, pretty good, better than I did the last 2 races. The weekend before this, I did a big ride up to Bear, so it's about 112 miles round trip. So that was a pretty fun one. Yeah, you see the Team Colado guy here attacked again. But yeah, I mean, I'm not super worried here. You saw we brought him back earlier, so he's not really a credible solo threat. So we let him dangle for a little bit. Also, a lot of horseshit on the course today. I mean, there's always a lot of horseshit on the Central Park course. Honestly, they need to get rid of the horses, or let them go. There's way better ways to get around Central Park now. I actually. Usually when I ride, I don't wear glasses or eye protection, but for this ride particularly, I did use eye protection. So found a $3 pair of photochromatic biking glasses off AliExpress. They seem to do the trick. Yeah, just want to avoid getting horseshit in my eye. So this guy in front of me, number 300, he's actually got the same bib tights as me. So if you guys want to know what my lower half looks like, that's pretty much it. It's the exact same pair. They're pretty good. I do like them. Got them on sale, 60% off. Pretty good for winter riding. This guy, number 500, he's a smaller guy. I think his thought was that he'd be good up the hills, and to maybe put in more efforts going up the hills. So yeah, good wheel for me to hop on going back up Cat's Hill here. The finish for this race, it's a little bit past Cat's Hill. It's a finish at the Met. So yeah, the kind of bunch sprint strategy is a little different than the first race. The first race, Cat's Hill, is kind of the perfect length to pace out a all-out sprint finish effort. So it's about 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds going up, and then you're across the finish line. This one, because the finish is a little past, the pacing for that sprint finish is a little different. So that was something I thought about. Should I attack halfway up, or when should I launch my sprint specifically? Because at the last race at Prospect Park, I kept waiting and waiting to launch, and then we crossed the finish line and I never really launched. This guy number 500, I guess, put in an attack. I immediately follow. Approaching that narrow part of the course again. I think the goal here is to be the first to that construction section. I don't know why, but I was like, all right, I'll put in an attack here. I want to be the first and pick whatever line I want. Yeah, maybe I'll talk a little bit more about CRCA as a club. So it is a member-run club, all volunteer. In order to run a race at Central Park, you need quite a lot of marshals. That's to make sure that every pedestrian crossing is monitored, and you're minimizing the amount of the number of hazards that are coming onto the race course. And there's kind of two ways that you can make sure you have enough marshals. So you either hire the marshals that you need for every race, or you can have the volunteers obligated to marshal at every race. So that way you kind of minimize the number of additional marshals that you have to then hire. So there's 3 different membership tiers for CRCA this year. Or I guess there's 4. There's one, obviously the most expensive option, $600 for the year of 12 races, where you don't have to marshal at all. And then you can choose if you want to marshal once, twice, or 3 times. So I picked the 3 marshaling membership tier. So it's $130 for the full race season, which is really nice. A little over $10 for every race. And like I mentioned, the first race got canceled, and I had to marshal at that one. And I still got marshaling credit, so it's pretty nice. The next race I'll be marshaling at is Bear Mountain Classic. That one counts as double credit. Honestly, pretty good season of marshaling for me so far. The Bear Mountain one will be a little tedious to get to, and obviously I won't be able to do the actual race. So that's a bit of a bummer, but at least I'll be able to do all of the rest of the races here in Central Park. Every attack that has been launched so far has been brought back relatively quickly. We had a couple of attacks lap 1, and then they were brought back. Actually, I guess I decided to put in an effort since I was out in the wind anyways. So I guess once again I'm pulling the field through this rolling hill section. But yeah, you saw before my heart rate was pretty in control. And I was honestly feeling pretty good at this point. So I thought, why not? I'll do it. I did a couple moves to break the slipstream, just for fun. I knew, my attack wasn't going to get away. So might as well make things interesting, I guess, for the people behind me. This guy sends an attack, and we all follow. We know how this thing's gonna go anyway, so no one's getting away today. This guy in front of me, he's got 2 timing chips on his bike. This race, one of the nice things is everyone does get a timing chip, even for Cat 5s. So that's pretty nice. Kind of what happened in this race is there would be an attack, and then people would follow, and then the rest of the field would be able to get pulled along. So yeah, no one was really strong enough to create any separation. Right, look at this view of the city. It's super nice. And on the left we've got the Collado team guy attacking again. Max follows, my buddy Max, but yeah, same thing happens. Some people chase, the rest of the field gets pulled along, attack is shut down. I think if this is the field that we'll be racing for the rest of the season, really need to work on my sprint. Yeah, I mean I can keep up with these guys through the 5 laps pretty easily. So number 534 on the left here. I think at the end I was actually sprinting against him. kind of fighting for that position. So I think in these clips you'll notice quite a lot of whistling by the marshals, and that's because in the marshaling instructions, they're actually instructed to blow the whistle once the peloton, I guess, or once the lead rider passes by them, to alert the next marshal down the course. So yeah, pretty old school way of tracking the riders, but you know, old school works. So I mentioned this is a longer race, so I did think a little bit about fueling, and what I brought to the race was, you know, 24 ounce 500 milliliter bottle with 60 grams of sugar. Worked out pretty well. Add a splash of salt to get some electrolytes, and yeah, I was drinking my bottle throughout the race. It's a little warmer now, so I do need that hydration, and it is a bit longer. For breakfast before the race, I had 2 big ass cookies from the grocery store down my block. I do love myself a good cookie. So far, before every race, that's kind of been my ritual, is just having big cookies before the race. And in this race, I'm pretty confident. Like, even though I'm in the C field, I'm pretty confident about the skills and bike handling abilities of the riders around me. And that's because for these CRCA club races, if you're a new member, before you race, you have to do a skill session. So that's run right now by Tara, great coach, great cycling coach. But yeah, in the skill session, you work on a couple of bike handling drills. So you push a partner up Harlem Hill a couple of times and get pushed by a partner. So that kind of practices, you know, if you're in a bunch and you need to let someone know that you're there, you can put your hand on their back. There's a drill where you pick up a water bottle from the ground while still on the bike. So that just helps with flexibility and general bike handling, I guess. There's a bunny hopping drill, so you can bunny hop to around all these potholes that are in Central Park and piles of horse shit. And then there's a turning drill where you kind of try and go around in a small circle at slow speed. So it's just good bike handling. So yeah. So I know that everyone in this race has that kind of same baseline of skills. So yeah, not too worried about people crashing out or people doing dumb stuff. And yeah, people are always sending attacks up Harlem Hill, up any of these hills really. So yeah, number 500, he tries to follow. I mentioned earlier, he probably has good power to weight ratio, but I think he's fading a little bit at this point in the race. This guy's fading a little bit, so I put in a little effort to catch up. I think maybe next one of these club races, maybe I'll get some buddies in the field to organize a little breakaway attempt. Because we are all, like, we all seem to be pretty evenly matched. All these attacks were brought back, so I think the only real way to get away is to have a group of 3 or 4 organized riders and determined riders on the front. Let's maybe put in like a 5-minute effort and we can pull away from the field, I think. So once again, I take my obligations on the front, on the west side of the course, I guess. Seems to be a bit of a pattern in this race now that I'm looking back at the footage. And I don't mind. I got a chance to recover before this section of the course after Harlem Hill. My heart rate's in check. I remember feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So yesterday, I saw this Instagram post, I think, saying how New York City is planning to, or thinking about redoing how the, runner, biker, car lanes are laid out in Central Park, or adding some infrastructure or something. And I mean, I don't have any real opinions on the matter. As long as they fix the potholes, I'll be happy. But the comments on that post, man, it was wild. Like, people were saying, oh, like, the problem is all these red lights in the park that are here. Everyone thinks that they have the right of way even when they don't. And other people pointing out that they're leftover from the era when cars were allowed in the park, so no one pays attention to them. A lot of people were talking about, oh, we need to stop these cyclists who think they're in the Tour de France and zoom by us at crazy speeds, and they're always yelling at pedestrians. That's definitely our group. Maybe not at 6 a.m. when there's no people in the park, but yeah, definitely when people are on training rides and stuff in the park, that does tend to happen. I myself have had several close calls, and it's not even warm enough in the season for like the tourists on their electric scooters to be around, and that's a whole other dimension to this issue. But yeah, I mean, you get this many, you get a city of this many people using the park. There's always going to be issues and friction. Max on the left here, riding with no hands. So I guess that's tells you something about the pace and how much we're able to recover here, riding with the pack. Yeah, my heart rate's in the 160s, so I'm feeling great. Max puts in an attack, I guess, for the heck of it. So I was coughing a little bit during this race, but I don't think it had any real impact on my ability to keep up or put down power. It's just mostly like upper respiratory stuff. And yeah, once again I find myself behind 500 on the uphill. So we can both, I guess, take advantage of our watts per kilo, and I get to take advantage of his draft. This guy sends an attack up the hill. We follow. Yeah, another little half-hearted attack, I guess, or an attack that goes and then fades. Dad walking his baby on the course when there's a sidewalk right there. Yeah, but at least this race we didn't have any horse buggies on the course, like last time, so that was good. Yeah, we're not going super fast at this point, so I figured I'd put in a little pull. Maybe if I put in a pull now, I won't have to pull again on the west side of the course. We'll do another one of these draft breaking moves to keep things a little interesting. You know, we're not pro riders, but when you do the left right thing, it might feel like you're in the Tour de France. Pro rider. I think Max wanted to organize a little breakaway group here. Didn't quite have the kick to hop on. I think maybe it's my fault that this attempt didn't work out, because I think I did drag the rest of the field along with me by not jumping on right away. But either way, this isn't the best place to attack, I think, because yeah, we're going to the downhill. There's Harlem Hill. Yeah, it gets brought back pretty quickly. But at least we'll be in the front going down that hill again, which was one of my priorities going into this race. Yeah, I guess I lost quite a lot of wheels from that attack, or from not being able to hang on to that attack. I guess I just didn't have the kick after taking that pull. Yeah, people are taking all kinds of lines down this hill. At least we're safe. I picked the one really close to the fence. I think as long as the course is dry, you don't hit any leaves. Yeah, not that bad. Although yeah, on camera it does look a little sketchy. But yeah, was able to make up quite a number of wheels there. So that just gives me options when we go up Harlem Hill again. So towards the front, I can choose to hang onto a wheel. I can sag a little bit and conserve my energy. Yeah, pretty happy about my positioning at the moment. Heart rate's mostly in check right before the hill, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. We're on the 4th lap out of 5. Here we go, people kicking it up the hill. I chose to save energy. But to save energy, you have to be on a wheel, so also have to invest a little bit of energy. I think this group actually did get some separation from some of the people behind us. So I guess if you wanted to start an organized breakaway, just get 3 or 4 guys really organized up Harlem Hill. And yeah, you can break away on the west side, I think, pretty easily after that. Pressure on the pedals down the hill, and then keep rolling throughout the west side. I guess if you have good 3 or 5 minute power, yeah, you can get away here pretty easily. Yeah, so I also think I need to work on my durability, because at this point of the race, my legs were definitely feeling it, and I wasn't super keen on responding to every single attack. You can see my heart rate is pretty well in check. It's just, you know, my leg muscles literally, you know, they need some work. I need to stop skipping leg days is basically what I'm saying.
I got you.
Yeah, Max telling me his GoPro died and that his legs feel tired. I try to trick him into saying this is the last lap. It's actually the 4th lap. And he says, you know, I can count up to 5. Yeah, but we can't count up to 6, so that's why we're stuck in the C field with the Cat 5s. Once you make it into Cat 3 or Cat 4, I guess you unlock the ability to count up to 6.
Hey, rotate!
Max rips one off. Maybe getting the legs ready for the sprint. Because we all know at this point no one's getting away on a solo attack. Or even a breakaway for that ride, for that matter. You see now there's a group of 3 up there instead of just the one guy. So a couple people try to make the bridge attempt. So honestly looking like a bit of a threatening group up there. I think the rest of the pack realizes this and we pick up the pace a little bit. And yeah, with that added sense of urgency, with the extra riders in the breakaway, we do manage to reel them back. And I think you can see everyone's kind of realizing that it's probably going to come down to a bunch sprint. Because yeah, no attacks have really stuck, no solo riders gotten away. So yeah, people are kind of taking it easy, trying to save energy, I guess, for the end. Alright, here we go. So people are getting ready to go up Harlem Hill for the last time. And we get something from the motorcycle. So yeah, the race gets neutralized here. Get neutralized because the A field is coming by. So there's their pacer. We gotta make it over to the right. We're neutralized until they're able to pass. So it looks like in the A field there's a group out front, right behind the moto. I guess the rest of the pack is pretty far behind. Yeah, we're just taking it easy up Harlem Hill, recovering behind the moto. Honestly, who knows how this ending might have turned out if it wasn't for this neutralizing. The field might have split in half in earnest. Because you saw on the last lap, like, people were going pretty hard up the hill, and we did split for a little bit. On the last lap, people will be a little more determined to send it down the hill, back down the hill. So a real split could have formed. Yeah, here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah, at this point of the race, I'm definitely prioritizing saving energy. So trying to keep my power down, find a good wheel to sit behind, and try and stay near the front as well for positioning. It's definitely going to come down to a field sprint. So I'm not, I guess I'm decent at sprinting, but only when I'm fresh. Or, it's better when you're fresh. I think everyone else has the same idea. We're going pretty slow, and the powers come down, heart rates come down. Yeah, I heard a story after the race about one of the dropped riders in, I think, the A or B field, where they wanted to make it, they pulled off to the side and unclipped, and they wanted to, I guess, rest, and they ended up hitting the curb and then like flipping over their bike. So yeah, pretty unfortunate. I guess they were really tired. Obviously, that's why they were dropped. But yeah, sad to hear. Yeah, I think someone had pointed out to me how many, I guess, like top spec or like really nice bikes there are, even in the C field here. Looking back through this footage, they're right. I'm riding my rim brake Alley Sprint. It's a pretty nice bike. Got it off Facebook Marketplace back in August when I got back into cycling. So it's been pretty good to ride on for training and for some of these races as well. But I recently did build another carbon frame bike. I think maybe at the next one of these CRCA races I'll use that one instead, because I have been riding it for training and it's super nice. The difference that like the disc brakes make in terms of stopping, and also on the Alley Sprint I only fit 25 millimeter tires on there with tubes, and then on the other one I've got tubeless setup of 30 millimeters, and it's a huge difference that 5 millimeters makes. Plus the bike is lighter, a little bit more responsive, so yeah, maybe it'll be good in these races. The only reason I'm hesitant is, the last two races, I mean the first race there was a crash, and the second race there was, some sketchiness involved. I would say no crashes, but certainly some dicey moments. I didn't want to race with the carbon frame until later on in the season, but yeah, I think I'll use it, because this race was actually pretty good in terms of the bike handling and avoiding sketchy situations. So yeah, we're rounding the south part of the park for the last time, so this is kind of coming up to the lead up to Cat's Hill, and then that kind of extended sprint finish after the hill. Everyone's starting to, you see the pack getting wide. Everyone's kind of saving energy and trying to fight for a position for that field sprint. Yeah, you can see my heart rate's under control here. Feeling really good. Got my buddy Max up here. I'm out of position for a little bit, and yeah, decided to step on it to hop back onto 520's wheel. I think at this point, position is probably more important than saving energy. People start to get going. I guess it's kind of eager because, yeah, honestly, it's still way too early for any kind of a field sprint. Start of a sprint effort, but definitely the pace picked up. Alright, there we go. First buggy of the day on the course. Yeah, 1,000 meters left to go. I'm really happy with my positioning. So I'm towards the front third of the pack. You see there's a lot of people, but honestly, like between here and the front, it's not too many wheel lengths or bike lengths. So pretty easy to make up that distance. Lead up to the hill. And yeah, if the finish was at the top, this is where I'd launch, but we still have 500 meters to go, so it's a pretty decent amount of distance. Yeah, people go crazy up the hill, so I have to match in order to keep up and stay on the wheel. And now it's just kind of an extended sprint, so try to stay on the wheel, recover a little bit, and here we go. My buddy Max was absolutely crazy.
Now the attack of Pogacar. He goes.
I'm neck and neck with this guy on the right, and I edge him out at the end. Finished in 7th. I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, felt like I jumped everything in the tank this time. So yeah, really satisfied. Really happy for my friend Max, obviously. I actually heard a pretty fun story about the ending. So the guy that was leading up until the finish line, he actually started celebrating before the finish line. Then Max kind of snubbed him at the last moment. I'll pull up some of the pictures here, and you can kind of see the sequence of events play out. But yeah, really funny sequence of events. And yeah, again, congrats to Max for winning that one. Really fun race. You know, 3rd one of the season, 1st one of this club series. And yeah, hoping, you know, learned a lot more from this race. I'm pretty happy with how I paced myself throughout the race as well. And looking forward to more to come later this month.